No, okay, too much. Too much. Too much.
Hello? Hello?
Perfect. Okay. I'm peeking. Oops. Okay, there we go. That should be better. So, I wanted you to discuss, I wanted to talk about a couple ideas I have. And I want you to tell me how bad these ideas are. Let me keep adjusting my mic until it sounds good. Okay. So, I'm working on the game Verily, as you know.
Yes. Yes.
Perfect. Okay. And my plan is to release by Christmas. However, I'm getting super bored working on this game and I don't want to do it anymore. So, I was thinking, instead of doing a full release on Christmas, what if right now I have 6 levels. Plus, 6 plus an intro. What if I worked on a boss for levels 6, so 7 levels, one of them being a boss level, and some kind of ending screen, and I make it like a beta. So it's like I'll come back to it, I'll finish it at some point, finish it, but at least I'll have it out relatively sooner.
Isn't that what, yeah. That one game that I like. The vampires.
Vampire Survivors. That just fully came out, I believe. But yes, something like an early access, except it'll be free. So
Hey, look what I did.
right, and then maybe it frees me up to do something else. Also, what I'm hoping is, and here's the bad idea, is it'll let me be more experimental. Because what I'm thinking about doing
Uh-oh.
is putting multiplayer in it.
In Verily.
In Verily. No, you don't like that idea?
How?
I don't know
That doesn't
exactly.
seem like a multiplayer game.
Well, it's not. But well, that's the thing. If I put in multiplayer, it's gonna explode the scope. It'll be like a much bigger game than it ever was before.
Well, then that's something fun for the new year.
That's true. But if I just finish Verily, then I can just make a new game where multiplayer makes more sense. Except I want to work on multiplayer now. Like I'm excited about the idea of multiplayer.
Well, then that's your reward for doing the boss and screen. And maybe that'll get some traction. People will see it, be like, ooh, that Dow sounds hot. The drow.
Drow.
The drow sounds
Drow
hot.
sounds hot. Oh right, yes, certainly does. So I think that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make a boss. I'm gonna make a end screen, and then I'm gonna start plugging away at netcode.
Do you have how many groups of mobs?
So there's new mobs every 3 levels. So there's 2 groups of mobs right now. There's rats, fleas, drow, and spiders, and a boss.
Boss every 3 levels, or just boss?
For now, it's just gonna be a boss every, I don't know, 6 levels. It's gonna be like a drow boss of some kind, like a drow queen maybe or something. Because you also might have like right now there's no like once you go back to the first level to buy stuff, you have to walk back to wherever you came from, and all the mobs respawn and stuff. So I might do, if I have like a boss on level 7, then maybe I'll put like a teleporter there. So it's like now you've opened up a teleporter, so you can start at level 7 the next.
Okay.
That's my idea. But it might be a really bad idea because multiplayer is going to make. The game was never designed for it.
No.
Because I think if I have multiplayer, I'm going to have to like have multiple classes. So you've got the druid guy, and then I'm going to have to add like a warrior. It would just be like 2 people. It's not going to be like 100 people running around, but still.
I think multiplayer should be saved for the next one. Like, even if you use the same assets. Just not Verily.
So I mean, well, so my idea was like to have Verily being like early access or whatever. But so you think I should just totally finish Verily? I mean, that makes the most. That's like the most logical plan. The only thing is, I'm getting less motivated by the day to do more Verily. Like I'm so, especially because I'm playing Baldur's Gate and it's such a fun game, and there's all these cool things I want to do, like have real NPCs and quests and stuff, and it's like, but Verily's not that game, and so it's like I want to hurry up and finish this thing. Only I have at least 8 more levels I have to do, you know, and it's such a slog, which I know I got to do it anyway, but I'm gonna do it, you know, regardless. I'm just trying to find a way to make it less painful, I guess. So maybe I'll shelve the multiplayer idea and just try to buckle up and get it done.
I think you should do. Well, you're gonna do. How many more levels?
6 more.
2 more groups of 3 levels.
I don't remember if it was 2 more groups or 3 more groups that I had planned.
Well, if it's 2 more groups of 3, then you could release as a beta and have the first half done.
Yeah, but the only reason I want to release as a beta is so that I can do other things.
Half my game.
Beta for years.
That's true.
Mountain Blade just got its official release.
Yeah. Yeah. But I don't want to work on one game for 2 years. You know, like
Well, you'll have half of it done. And if after 3 months no one's even bought the free game, just slowly slip away.
Okay. Well, maybe that's a plan then. Maybe I do throw the boss on there, have an ending of sorts, clean it up, get it out as like a quote unquote beta, and then like I guess if nobody's bothered to play it in, you know, a couple months, I was like, well, I'll move on to the next project, I guess.
We don't play it.
Well, thank you, honey. Maybe that seems like a sensible idea. So otherwise, if I go at my present trajectory, I think I can do everything I wanted to do. But by like somewhere around New Year, maybe January or February, but that's still more than it's just like I said, my motivation is plummeting.
My thought process is that would be half the game, which is technically a small game.
That's true. Yeah. That makes sense.
So if you stopped it at a boss and an end screen, nobody would know they're missing half of it.
That's true. Yeah, you're right. You're right. I guess I will do that. Yeah, that sounds like a plan. I'm gonna do a boss, do an end screen, release the game, and then move on to another project, which will have multiplayer. I'm doing multiplayer. It's just it won't be Verily. Because I don't know. I'm really motivated to do something multiplayer.
Oh, but you've put in a lot of work on Verily.
Yeah, I have.
Constant work too. It looks good.
Yeah, I made mistakes that I've
Like
had to
have a-
live with now for going on a year, almost. I had a hood.
Yeah.
He's like a priest. He's got a cross and everything, like a dagger, not a lich.
My fan art has him as a skeleton.
It's not a skeleton. It's a dude.
In my mind, he's a skeleton.
It's not a skeleton.
And the drow is a really hot zombie lady.
Zombie lady?
She's a little limpy.
How dare you?
She's cute. I like her. She's my favorite.
It's funny because I feel like the art is consistently getting better, but there's like a clear delineation from the first things to like the drow.
The drow looks really good.
Oh well. Alright, so that's my plan now. Is to make a boss, make an ending screen. Peace. I already made a skeleton guy. Maybe he's gonna be the boss. Which is kind of a lame boss. Skeleton with a spear.
I mean, make him double him in size.
It could be a giant skeleton with a spear. That's true. Why not? You know what? Giant skeleton.
That's scary.
Sounds pretty spooky to me. All right. I think that's a plan. It's still a lot to do. It's like a boss, a level for the boss to be in. I've got a playtest, which I have not really done yet. There's a whole bunch of spells. I might cut some of the spells, frankly, because I know some of them are not going to work or make sense in a game this small. So there's just a lot to do still. But I'm going to do it, and I'll get the game out. And move on to the next project, whatever that might be.
Battle drow.
That's the name of the new game, Battle Ground.
It could be one of those girl fighting games, like Battle Girl. What is that?
I don't know what you're talking about right now.
I have one of those games, and it's a whole bunch of different girls, and you fight. Battle Babes? I don't know, something like
I don't
that.
know what you're talking about right now. It's like a fighting game with chicks.
Yeah.
Sounds lame.
Like DOA beach volleyball, but instead of volleyball,
I see. So
It's
DOA.
I never played that. I only played the volleyball.
Right.
I actually didn't know DOA was a legit game.
It's a great game. Good series.
I thought it was
It's just volleyball and making girls jump across the pool.
I mean, this is also that, yes. No, I don't think I want to make a girl fighting game. I kind of like... I want to make a game of whatever I'm playing at the moment. So right now I want to make a Baldur's Gate.
No, I'm playing Divinity. You can't do that.
Yeah, but I
Can't
don't
do-
like Divinity. My version of Divinity is way better.
That's because you don't play it correctly.
True. Here's what I want to do. Here's my idea, and tell me how stupid it is. So I like the idea of companions that come and go. So like, it'll be a big world full of quests, and you're like an adventurer, mercenary kind of guy, and you get quest contracts, and you go to different companions, NPCs, and you cut them in on your quest. You go like, hey, I'm gonna get 100 gold for this quest. I'll give you a cut and then they go adventuring with you if they like you. And there's all these ways they can like you. Like everybody has like a couple cardinal stats. Like you're valorous or you're cowardly, or you're generous or you're close-fisted, that kind of thing. Like you have these dual stats, and NPCs are this combination of these different things. And so is your guy, your player character. And so you go on these quests with the NPCs, and the more quests you do with them, the more they like you and will invite you on quests and that kind of stuff. But like at the end of the quest, if they got to go do this other thing over here, they're gonna go do that other thing. Like it's not like you don't just have a companion that's gonna like be with you for the entire game. Probably like they're just everybody's doing their own thing, and so it's like people coming and going, kind of. You might even come across NPCs doing something else on your way to another quest, and maybe if they're good friends with them, maybe they'll join you, or maybe they'll be like, hey, I got this thing I got to do. You want to come? I'll give you a 20% stake or something like that.
Can you program that much randomness?
How dare you?
No, I mean, can anybody program that much randomness?
It's not. Well, so the only random part, so the NPCs will all be pre-made. The world itself will all be pre-made. The random part will be the quests that'll have to be random. So there's only a certain amount of randomness that has to be generated, like the loot and the quests. It's probably not going to be like an end game or anything. You're just kind of be in that world. Maybe there is. Well, I do have an idea for an end game, but I don't want to talk about it.
Can you make achievements?
No, because it's not going to be Steam. So.
Like, Steve, do a total 100 quests with Steve.
Well, yeah, there'd be stuff like that, and and like different tiers of NPCs too. Because like when you start, your companions are all going to be kind of scrub adventurers, just kind of like you. They're just starting out, and they're cheap. The quests they're picking up are going to be like, go to my cellar, kill the rats kind of a stuff, But then, like, as you ascend in notoriety as an adventurer, you get picked for, like, actual, like, kingdom relevant quests. Like, we need to find the stone of Hoojubajoob to save the kingdom kind of a thing.
So, essentially...
And there could be, like, companions or, NPCs who are, like, unscrupulous. So, like, there could be, like, a level 3 NPC who has like a level 3 mission, but he wants to invite you, a level 1 guy, just because he knows you won't be able to take much of a cut kind of thing, and he's going to use you as like cannon fodder.
I liked the idea.
It's just because my favorite part of Baldur's Gate so far is there's like a billion companions running around. But at the same time, my least favorite part is I can only have 6 at any given moment. No, only have 5, including my player character. And if I trade one of them out, I lose a bunch of stuff because the new guy who comes in is level 1 or whatever. And so, like, I'm missing out on, like, it's not an ideal way to play the game, but that's how I want to play it, is trading out the NPCs like crazy.
So, like, if you could bring in Minx and Boo, and they were already equal level to everybody else.
Right. And also just, like, make it make sense in the world. Like, why are these people just like, yeah, I guess we'll tag along and help you out for no reason? Like, it should make sense where they're like, the things we want to do align with what you want to do, which is, in my game, something as simple as, like, we're all trying to make money and be adventurers. But, like right now you're doing this thing, and I'm interested in it too, so I'm going to come along and do it with you. I'm going to help you out because you're going to cut me in. And then later they might have something. Like, you didn't even get this quest. They have this quest. And they're like, hey, you're reliable. I know you. Or I even like you at this point. Like, we're buds. Let's go do this thing.
And you can program that?
I think so.
Yeah, I think it'll be fun making up some quests.
Yeah. Anyway, that's the idea I've been chewing on.
That's a lot of art, though.
So it's gonna be 3D, but I'm gonna make it look pixelated. It's gonna be a pixel it's gonna like a filter on the screen. So even though it's gonna look pixelated, but it's actually all gonna be 3D, which makes the art actually a little easier. And like the world itself is gonna be very, almost like Minecraft-esque, like very blocky. So from an asset creation standpoint, I think it actually might not be too bad. Still a lot of assets, but not super technical stuff. And I want to fit multiplayer in there somehow, and I don't know exactly. Maybe that's not the game for multiplayer. Maybe I got to do something else for multiplayer. I don't know.
I mean, really, I think the only way you could do multiplayer is if it was open world. Or it was like a lot of people have quests. Like, you have people that have the quest, plus the NPCs have quests, and they can invite you and be like, hey, I got this quest. You want to be buds?
Yeah, I'm not making an MMO though, and
That's what I'm thinking of.
yeah,
That'd be
it's probably not the game for multiplayer. I gotta come up with a different idea for multiplayer. I'm really hot on multiplayer right now. I want to do a multiplayer thing, so maybe it'll be a smaller project first before I get to this Baldur's Gate ripoff. Which by that time I'll have played something else and want to make that. So, multiplayer. I had a simple idea for like a board game almost. It's like an Overland.
I love board games.
Well, there's an action component to it, but it's like a board game. You have a map. It's a hexagonal grid across the map, and every little grid space has certain values. So there'll be values of like chaos and nature
Draconic.
versus like order and whatever, justice, I don't know, something like. So there's different values in all the different land spots, and there's settlers moving into the land, and you play a guy or gal who's walking into the land first to clear it for the settler, like make it safe. So you go across every turn. You can move a hex space, and you try to clear out the inhabitants, the uncivilized folk who inhabit the forest, who are like bad guys.
A one-player risk.
No. So when you get to an encounter, it's an action game. So first you pick where you want to go, but if you land on a space or they land on a space with you, or like a war party of these like picks, like savages. That's the word I was trying to avoid. No. You fight them in a real-time action fight. And as you clear them out, but so there's a bunch of these parties walking around the map. You don't see them necessarily. They're just out and they're walking. And as they walk, they change the value of the hex, the spot that they're on. So like they're sowing chaos, and chaos begets more chaos. So as they're walking through the land, they're creating more chaos. And then if the chaos threshold of a tile gets high enough, it spawns more. Meanwhile, you're sowing like, I don't know, like order or something. You know, you're whatever the opposite is of chaos, I guess, order. And as the order goes high enough, settlers move in, build houses, and settle the land, and then also spread more, order and that kind of stuff. So it's like you have these competing sort of forces, and you're out there ranging. And that can be multiplayer because you bring a buddy with you for the action set pieces, sequences. So it's just like a really simple action game on top of like a really simple, choose where to go. And kind of roguelike, so like you finish an action, kill a bunch of guys, and then like you roll dice to get some kind of, you get some kind of loot out of it. So, it's like, you don't know what you're going to get. Could be good. Probably won't be though. So that's my idea, and that I think is a smaller game. Well, it's obvious it's a much smaller game than a Baldur's Gate ripoff, but I think I can do multiplayer with that, and I think it's a relatively smaller game.
I know nothing about the whole programming issue. So you say it's smaller. I'm just gonna have to believe you.
Well, anytime you introduce multiplayer, you're like the complexity goes way up.
It's not just copy and paste.
No.
Oh.
You have to completely design the way you're coding things differently. Because, like, normally when you're coding something, like I'm saying, like, you know, I press the button and my guy does whatever. He swings his axe or something like that. But if it's in multiplayer now, it's like I press a button and that sends a message over the internet to the server, which then sends a message to everybody and says, hey, my guy swung a sword, which so now the sword swings and that kind of thing. So it's like you're upping. You have to totally like architect things
Sounds awful.
differently. No, it's just different. And if you do things right, and it forces you to be clean. So there's just no cheating. It's like you have to be writing things good for it to work.
And that's what you do.
Not necessarily, but it forces you to do that. So.
Aha, dirty little secret comes out.
Well, I mean, yeah, I you know, I fly by the seat of my pants, and then oftentimes, like a month later, I'm like, well, you know, I shouldn't have done it that way. Like I have a lot of that going on.
But yeah, I think I see what you're saying. No, you stole that idea from me.
What are you talking? What? Explain.
My chalice game that I keep
It's a
thinking
little
about.
chalice-y, but it's not. There's no turn-based combat. It's gonna be real-time combat.
I'm just saying, I just mentioned this game.
Massive Chalice is not a good game.
Is that what it's called?
Yes, Massive Chalice is what you're thinking
I
about.
kept asking you.
I know, but I didn't want to talk about Massive Chalice because I hate Massive Chalice. It's a bad game. Cool idea. Bad execution.
Just remember killing off my bloodline.
Yeah, the bloodline thing was a neat idea. It's just that the actual like combat, the turn-based combat was like.
That part I don't even remember. Just remember the loading screen.
That's all you need to know, I guess. Well, as you know, yeah. All right, so it sounds like I have a roadmap now. I'm gonna finish Verily. And I'm cutting it, which is funny. I already cut Verily in half. I started at 30 levels I was gonna do, and then it was like a couple weeks ago. I'm like, I'm only gonna do 15, and now I'm just doing 6 plus a boss. But you know, what are you gonna do? If it explodes in popularity, and it won't, but if it did, I would, you know, I'd throw another 6 levels or whatever in there. I'd go back to 15.
Vampire it's now like monthly. Like crazy.
Oh, well, yeah, I know. He pumps out a lot of content, and good for him. The game is super popular, and it's a great game. So he deserves it. Verily, you know, will not be popular, and
Gotta
it's not a
start
great
somewhere.
game, frankly. So
I think it looks cool, but I might be biased. I don't know.
I like aspects of it. Like I wouldn't release it if I thought it was crappy, but you know, and as unmotivated as I am getting, because it's so much, but like if I didn't think it was at least a little bit of fun, I wouldn't bother putting this much work into it. It's just that the things I don't like, which are the things that make it not Baldur's Gate, like there's no, you know, like I said, there's no NPCs, there's no companions, there's no, There's no map, there's no world. It's just it's a series of dungeons. So there's no story, there's no quest. Which if you play Ultima 1, there really isn't. There's technically a story in there, but like not really. You're really just running through dungeons, getting money, and that's what the game is based on. Because that's what I was interested in at the time. But now I'm playing Baldur's Gate, and I'm like, oh my god, this is really good. I want to do Baldur's Gate. But I always knew I was going to evolve Verily. It's just just getting this one out the door is so much work that it's like I'm ready to move on.
And I think cutting it at a boss at an end screen is like a good. This is what I did. You can either put it on hold or just stop it there.
Yeah. Yeah. And I wonder, I haven't really play tested the game. I don't know how long it's going to take to beat. You definitely can't just run through it because you do need to stop, kill things, and level up. Like, you will not be able to beat it, at level 1 with all your crappy equipment and stuff. So, I mean, there is a certain amount of you're going to have to go back and forth a little bit. So, I think it's not like a 10-minute game, is what I'm trying to say. You might even get as much as like an hour, possibly.
An hour for free?
Potentially. I think it's entirely possible.
I paid $60 for Fable 3 and only got like 6 hours out of it, so.
It's true. So by that metric, by the Fable 3 metric, this game is like a AAA title now.
It is to me.
Thinking though, Fable 3 was still fun.
Yes. But it was like eating 8 chocolate cakes. This is great. And as soon as you're done, you're like, oh, no.
Yeah.
I'm never doing that again.
No, there's no reason to replay Fable 3.
There is Fable 1, though. Just not the awful PC port.
It's not the PC port. It was the PC. Well, maybe the PC port stinks too. I don't actually know. It probably does. But there was the HD. The HD edition of Fable. It's just a travesty. They made it uglier somehow. It shouldn't even be possible, but they did.
I loved that game.
Me too. One of my all-time favorites. Very charming.
Maybe Verily will be my new favorite game.
No, it definitely won't. But it's not supposed to be. It's supposed to be it's a quick. Hopefully it's fun. Hopefully people can play it and say, "Oh, this was fun." It's not massive. It's not,
I can't wait for the Stingy Hat guy to release a new one.
Exactly right. That's exactly right. And like I always wanted my games to be micro games, like to be boutique, small things. Verily kind of blew up. I don't know why. I always had planned anywhere from 30 to 100 levels, and for some reason when I was first planning this out, I thought making levels was going to be really quick. Turns out it's like about an hour a piece at a minimum. And it's like, I just need to. There's just the content. I mean, that's what I'm doing right now. I'm grinding content out for this thing, and it's just it's lost its appeal. It's which of course it lost its appeal a long time ago, but it's like I don't know. I'm just seeing I'm reading articles about doing netcode and multiplayer stuff. And I'm like, I want to do that. It's like that. I'm really jazzed on that right now, and there's just none of that in Verily. Like Verily, in fact, from a code perspective, Verily is pretty much. I haven't almost written no code for it in months because, I got it all done. The code-wise, Verily's been done for a long, long time.
Well, then I think it is time to get the boss, get the end screen before you work on this one too long to where you decide you're never going to make anything else again.
And it'll just be good to. I haven't released a game in so many years, so it's just it's time. Well, I guess I released Knuckle Busters, but that was a really really small game. So this will be this will Verily even at 6 levels and a boss. It's a bigger game than I've ever made, so that's something.
Well, I mean, your timeline of games is we're getting to something.
Yeah. Did I ever tell you my idea about Bad Mansion?
Yes,
I really like Bad Mansion. That would be cool. That's a multiplayer game too.
that is a multiplayer game.
Maybe Bad Mansion. Or Fishing with Friends. I told you about Fishing with Friends too, right?
No.
It's like wacky shark hunting. You're in a boat, but like with wacky physics. And there's a giant shark like knocking your boat around, but the physics are really silly, and so you're kind of all flying off the boat, and you get in the water. You don't want to be in the water, because the shark's gonna get you. So it's just kind of like a frantic, and you're like shooting. It's fishing, but you're using guns, and so yeah, it's fishing with guns, big sharks, silly physics boats.
I'm in.
That was my idea. Fishing with friends. I'm just dispensing ideas.
I do like a good laugh till it hurts while you're drunk physics game.
Exactly. Wacky physics games are fun.
Like the fight naked with your friends.
What?
It's a game. I'm not just making
Yeah?
that up.
All right.
Yes.
What?
Yes.
Are you talking about the climb your friends or whatever it's called?
Is that what it is?
Mount your friends.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't
Fight
know.
naked with your friends. It's a
So
different
that's the
different
game I
game
wanna
entirely.
make.
Yeah. I don't know.
So I need your help making a game.
Yeah. So yeah, silly physics games would be cool.
That would be a fun physics game. Fight your friends naked.
Well, I was talking about fishing with friends, not fight your friends naked, but
Can we
that
fish
could be
naked?
cool too. Why not? So anyway, a lot of cool ideas. I don't know what my next game will be. It'll be smaller, but it'll be multiplayer for sure.
In fishing with friends is multiplayer.
Yes, it is.
Like, I mean, how many people would you be able to? Would you need to have a server?
I
Do we
don't know.
need to have a server in the house?
No, not like that. You could be hosted remotely, but I was thinking like 2 to 4 people for fishing with friends. What was the other idea I had?
Bad Mansion?
Bad Mansion would be also like 2 to 8 maybe. Kind of the more the merrier on Bad Mansion. Which, so people know, not that anybody's listening, but Bad Mansion is Resident Evil, but with multiple people, and one of them is a traitor. So you're trying to. But Resident Evil boils down to running around a mansion, finding keys to open more doors, to get more keys to open more doors, until you get out. Essentially, with obviously zombies and bad guys in the way. Bad Mansion is the same thing, except silly and stupid, and also a traitor aspect.
Who eats keys?
No. Why would they
You're
eat?
not fun.
Why would somebody eat a key? Does that make
So
any
you
sense?
can't have it.
Well, I mean, you could put a key in your pocket. I don't know.
Oh, that's not suspicious.
Well,
What's that
everybody's
key doing in
collect.
your
Where do
pocket?
you put your keys? You put them in your pocket. That's just what everybody does. Except the bad guy, he's at some point he has to reveal he's a bad guy, or be like,
stole all your keys.
Right. So I don't know. Bad Mansion is an idea. But that requires making a mansion level. Which is not too bad. Whereas fishing with friends is just an ocean. Now, fishing with friends, the trouble is water physics and boat physics.
Yeah, but physics games are so fun. The more people, the more physics. That's just fun.
Especially like as as the boat gets like crappier, the more it gets beat up.
You have done physics. You did your jump over the ledge, the ball falls down.
Jump over the ledge, the ball falls down?
Not over the ledge. There's like the platform.
Yeah, I never released that though. But yes, and maybe I'll just do that again. Maybe I'll do that. That's probably good. Like that's a very micro game where it's just a mini game really, where it's like
See,
like an obstacle course, except your obstacles are falling down around you.
the big physics game that I think of is Fall Guys. And that's fun. I love physics games.
Yeah.
But I don't like the having to pull this, push this to go through the door. I just want to be on a platform and do silly things.
Right. That's why fishing with friends is nice, because you're just on the boat. The boat is doing physics. You're not doing physics to the boat. The boat's doing wacky physics, and you're just trying to stay. You're just trying to stay on.
And I want to bump into somebody and send them off the boat and
Right.
into the shark.
Right. So yes, good ideas all. All right. Well, I'm gonna wrap up. So yes, boss level. I'm gonna finish Verily. I'm gonna set a date right now for myself. December 1st.
Hold on, what type of day is that?
It's a good point. It could be like Tuesday, and that would make
It's a
any sense.
Thursday.
Where's Thanksgiving?
The 24th?
Let's say the 28th is the release date of Verily. Official. Very exciting. The 28th. You heard it here first. And then I'm going to release it with the idea that I might make more content for it. But I probably won't, because I don't want to do it anymore. I'm so bored of Verily right now.
And I totally believe cut it before it ruins everything else.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
Perhaps if it gets traction, that'll make you be like, oh, maybe I should work on it more.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, at this point, it's just more content. That's all I'm doing. I'm not coding. I'm just making stuff for it, which is not hard to do. It's just time consuming. But if people really like it, against all odds, I could, I could always slap another 6 level. I could double the game, another boss, another 6 levels, and it would only take X amount of time. I don't know exactly, but yeah. All right. I'm going to close the stream now.
You should have had something playing on your screen.
I should have, but I didn't. I was going to work while I was talking.
You can't work and talk.
You're right. I can't. I can't multitask. So, it's what it is.